Welcome! We're going to talk about something that's a totally natural and universal part of life, menopause. Our goal here isn't to talk about it like it's an illness, but to give you a guide, a toolkit, really, to navigate this change with confidence.
So you might be asking yourself, what's really going on in my body during this time? It's a great question. So let's break down the actual biology behind menopause. Okay, first things first, let's get one thing straight. This is a completely normal part of aging. It's a universal journey that can absolutely be understood and managed.
So, what is it technically? Well, the clinical definition of menopause is that moment when you've gone 12 consecutive months without a single period. This usually happens somewhere between the ages of 45 and 55. But it's so important to remember, this isn't like a light switch flipping off one day. It's really the end point of a very gradual transition. All right, now that we know what it is, let's look at the biological why. It really all comes down to a pretty powerful hormonal shift. That's what drives all the changes that we tend to associate with menopause. At the absolute center of this whole story is estrogen. Now, we often think of it as just a reproductive hormone, but it's so much more than that. It's a key player all throughout the body, affecting everything from our skin and bones to how our brain functions. And that's precisely why a drop in estrogen has such wide-ranging effects. This chart here shows the change so clearly. Before menopause, you can see the ovaries are actively releasing eggs, and that keeps estrogen and progesterone levels high. But then, during and after menopause, that whole process stops. The ovaries stop releasing eggs, and as a result, those same hormone levels drop significantly. This right here, this is the fundamental biological shift. So how does this hormonal shift actually translate into your personal experience? We're about to get into symptoms, but I think it's helpful to think of them as signals. Messages your body is sending you during this big transition. And here are some of those common signals. They can range from the well-known hot flushes and night sweats, which are often connected to sleep problems, all the way to shifts in mood and physical changes like vaginal dryness. It's also really critical to be aware of the internal stuff, the things you can't see, like an increased risk of bone loss. This huge range is exactly why everyone's experience is so unique. Now, looking at that list of symptoms, you're probably wondering, what can I do about it? This brings us to a really empowering part of our conversation, your management toolkit. Let's look at the strategies and options you have to help navigate this journey. The foundation of any good toolkit is always lifestyle. These adjustments can directly help with some of the symptoms we just talked about. A diet rich in calcium and vitamin D, along with regular weight-bearing exercise, is absolutely crucial for protecting against that risk of bone loss. And avoiding triggers like caffeine can sometimes help manage hot flushes and even improve your sleep. For more significant symptoms, there are medical options. On the left, you see menopausal hormone therapy, or MHT. This basically works by replacing the hormones your body isn't producing as much of anymore, helping to restore that balance your body was used to. Then on the right, you have non-hormonal options, which can target specific symptoms like hot flushes or dryness, without using hormones at all. It's all about finding a personalized approach that works for you. Now, if MHT is something you're considering, this principle is absolutely critical. The lowest effective dose for the shortest time. This is the golden rule for safety. It's all about getting the benefits of symptom relief while minimizing any potential risks. It's a key conversation to have with your doctor. Protecting your bone health during this time is so important. There are two really clear steps you can take. First, making sure you get enough calcium and vitamin D is fundamental. That's a must. Second, if it's needed, you can discuss specific medications with your doctor to further reduce the risk of something like osteoporosis. I know this can all seem like a lot to manage, which brings us to a really crucial point. You are not supposed to do this by yourself. Building a support team is a huge part of the process. And a fantastic, super accessible member of that team is your local pharmacist. They can do so much more than just dispense medication. They can advise you on how to use MHT safely, recommend good over-the-counter products, spot any potential medication interactions, and even just encourage you to stick with those important lifestyle changes. So when we bring all this information together, let's try to shift our perspective. This isn't just about managing symptoms, it's about embracing what comes next. The key is really to reframe this transition. Menopause can mark the beginning of a whole new chapter, one that can be defined by a renewed focus on balance, a different kind of strength, and a deep commitment to your own self-care.
So please, remember this. Menopause is a natural transition, not a disease. With the right information, support, and care, you can absolutely move through it with confidence and comfort. Thanks for watching.